Let's go. First things first, Joe is going to be leading us tonight. Joe is the absolute man. Joe is actually my first ever operator as a coach 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. Joe was with us for 5 years. He actually coached one of the biggest teams ever. He coached the #1 rookie in the history of our company and the #1 vet in the history of our company, still held by Joe. 500K. Actually, no, the rookie record was just beat this year.
Let's just be. I asked Cove. I'm like,
Just beat this year, and then vet record of a $1 million business. Joe came to our end of year kind of big dogs party. Sometimes we'll bring out some alum, and I gave Joe the ultimate protege award because he has been my right hand man for years and years. He's now working with contracting.com and a bunch of our other alumni, Amr Abu Shakra, who was the previous #1 operator of all time, absolute savage. You guys all listen to his podcast already. He runs the weekly poll. They've been listening to Dear StudentWorks Operator. They listen to the six rules of success.
nice.
So they're acquainted. And yeah, I'll let Joe take us away. But
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do a quick intro and then we can do some Q&A. So who am I? So I'll kind of talk like before StudentWorks, during StudentWorks, and what I'm doing now. So before StudentWorks, I went to Western University. Do you have anybody here from Western or just Guelph?
Oh yeah, lots of Western.
Joey, did you just nod Western?
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, before StudentWorks went to Western, I worked at McDonald's, like Luke. So if you want some proof, here are the platinum cards. These are pretty sweet because you get 50% off whatever you got at McDonald's. So that you can literally see the tags of 2016. During StudentWorks, I did StudentWorks for 5 years. I spent 2 years as an operator. Both years, I was a Mexican President's Club operator, which was sweet. I spent 3 years doing full-time coaching. In 3 years, I coached over $5 million worth of revenue under Luke's coaching. Coached the #1 operator in the history of the company who ran a $1 million revenue business, which was sweet because we learned a lot from there's like 5 StudentWorks operators who did like around 400 to 500,000, which is amazing. And the business model that you need to go from $500,000 to $1 million is completely different. And when Justin ran a $1 million business as a company, we just got so much clarity and more data on how to run a 7-figure business. So that was pretty cool for the company. So here's some pictures of that. What I'm doing now after StudentWorks, so I'm a high ticket closer and a sales manager for contracting.com, which is a startup consulting firm, which was founded by Pat Lalonde. You guys know him, VP of StudentWorks. And Amr Abu Shakra. So what I specifically do there is I lead the sales team, and as a closer myself, I close and I bring in over around $200,000 worth of new clients every single month, which is sweet. And kind of what I learned from StudentWorks is so great because it's so accelerated and you get so much skill set and so much skill set development for a lot of aspects in business, which is what you absolutely need at the beginning. But then once you get some general skill set, what I'm learning now is that all the money is by going really deep in one skill set. So right now what I'm doing is really mastering closing, sales, and leadership. So yeah, which I'm having a lot of fun with. So here's some pictures of that. Here's our website. There's Patrick, there's Amber, there's me. The 2 other guys actually, left is Landon, the right is Dylan. They're StudentWorks West alumni, which is pretty cool. But this call is really not about me. This is about you guys. So I want to provide you guys some value to help you crush 2024. So I want to share a coaching framework or like a mindset framework that I've used in my life for me and for my operators. And it's called the law of inverse thinking. I'm curious to know if anybody's ever heard of this specifically. I don't think so, but no? Okay, cool. Do you guys know who Charlie Munger is? No, okay. Do you guys know who Luke? Yes, let's go. Do you guys know who Warren Buffett is? You guys know Warren Buffett? Okay, cool. So Charlie Munger is Warren Buffett's right-hand man. And he adopted this thinking called law of inverse thinking. because he believed in solving problems in reverse, backwards. Because it's like, as humans, our brains are way better at finding problems than they are finding solutions. So if you guys have, like, I don't know, you can take some notes on your phone or on your laptop. If you guys want to take some notes, I highly encourage it. You don't have to. I can send the recording after. So in terms of inverse thinking, I wanted to share with you guys 12 steps on how to be a low performing StudentWorks operator. And at the end, I'm going to flip it. So if you guys want to take some notes, you're more than welcome to. So here's the first step on how to be a low performing StudentWorks operator. Be uncoachable. Okay, so like, you guys are literally in a program with proven systems, and the only factor, or the biggest factor on your level of success, is how coachable you are on learning these systems. And you guys are really in an interesting position, because don't take this the wrong way, but the less you think and the less you question, and the more coaching you guys soak from your coach, the faster you'll see results with proven systems. I'm not saying don't think, don't be a critical thinker, like, absolutely do that. But like, I mean, don't take the less you think and the more you do, the better results you'll see. Okay, so that's, if you want to be a low performer, that's an amazing coaching. Be uncoachable. That's number one. Number two, try and reinvent the wheel. So these are like proven systems for a reason. So if you guys think about StudentWorks, they've been around for over 40 years. And on average, I would say every year, we've had over 200 operators. So if you go 200 operators times 40 years, that's, I think, 8,000. 40 times 200. Yeah, 8,000 years of data. And all these systems are all based and built around data, not emotion. So unless someone here thinks they're smarter or has more information than 40 years of data, I highly don't encourage trying to reinvent the wheel or trying to redo the system. But if your goal, because life's all about what you're optimizing for, if your goal is to be a low performer, absolutely try and reinvent the wheel. Okay. Number three, resist taking massive action. So if you guys know who Tony Robbins is, Tony Robbins talks about the path to success is to take massive, determined action. And it would just be really weird and unreasonable for you guys to expect massive results without taking massive action. But if you want to run a small business or be a low performer, I totally encourage resist taking massive action. Number four, complain about the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do. So like, in life and business, there are no surprises. Your life so far and your life moving forward and your business moving forward, all the results are going to be designed by choice. Like, input does equal output. Like, there are no random variables in life, and we all reap what we sow. So don't be surprised by the results you don't get for the work you don't do. Number five, fail once, quit forever. So for some of you guys, some point this year or multiple points this year, you guys will have the temptation and self-doubt to quit, because this is actually really hard. If you feel this way, it's good. Like, I want you to remember that it's good to feel that way. It's totally okay. It means that you're trying and that you're actually pushing yourself. And I just want to reframe how we look at failure. When you fail and you don't get the outcome that you wanted, failure is the richest source of data that you can ever get. Okay, you'll get the most amount of feedback from failing. And if you quit from failure, you'll just be guaranteeing yourself of absolutely, with certainty, of not getting the results. There's a million ways to win and a million ways to run a successful business, but there's only one way to lose, and that's to quit and to give up. But if you want to be a low performer, yeah, when it gets hard, just quit. Number six, make promises and break promises. So one of the most important leading indicators for success in this program and outside the program is integrity. And that's like a huge thing here. Luke talks about it, Pat talks about it, Chris talks about it all the time. It's like actually keeping your word to yourself and to others. Like if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, do it and do it on time and do it the way that it was meant to be done. Like when you say you're gonna go canvassing and go market. When you say you're gonna call that client back by 5 p.m., call them back at 5 p.m. If you give your word to something, just keep it. Number 7, Ella Hall Smith. I'm just gonna let her in, but she's gonna not have context. That's okay. Number 7, if you want to be a low performer, avoid discomfort. Okay, we're all here in this program. Sorry, if you are in this program to stay within your comfort zone, I'll just tell you now, November before the season starts, you're probably in the wrong place. We all want to be successful, but not many people are willing to pay the price for it. We all want growth, but that never happens in your comfort zone. But if you want to be a low performer, I encourage you to avoid discomfort. Number 4, wait for perfect conditions to do the work. Because here, like I guess, like here's the thing: like perfect conditions just don't exist. Don't get fancy. The work sometimes just needs doing. And if you're the type of person to wait for perfect conditions to do the work, here's my personal concern. The moment imperfect conditions come, it means that you're just no longer going to do the work and no longer be successful. So, but if you want to run an okay business, just wait for perfect conditions. Number 9, be busy rather than being productive. So being productive, what that means is to actually move the needle in the business. It's what actually brings in cash and money through the door. So it's like marketing, setting up estimates, doing estimates, stuff like that. Being busy feels productive, feels like you're moving the needle, but you're not moving the needle. So stuff like this would be like stuck on your job site, painting, production trap, getting fancy and doing unnecessary work, like, I don't know, building an IG page for your painting business and spending 6 hours doing that, like being on the phone with like your phone provider midday for like 2 hours trying to figure out your phone plan. Like those are all things that will make you feel productive, but you're not moving the needle. Okay. Number 10, do your best, not what it takes. So this one's kind of interesting. So after January training, you guys are going to sit down with your coach and have what's called a max launch meeting, where you're going to get clarity on your goals, and they're going to help you reverse engineer your end of the year goal to weekly and daily inputs. And sometimes doing your best, unfortunately, is just like not enough. There are daily and weekly requirements of input needed to hit your end of the year goal. And by accepting that doing your best sometimes is just not enough, it'll force you to level up and do more to do what is actually required. Therefore, you getting better in the process. And sometimes your best is just less than what it truly takes for you to hit your goals. Number 11, assume that you're always right. So there are no upsides to you being right. You're never learning. You will never do things differently if you think that you're always right. The most successful people that I know always come into any conversation, business or not, with a blank slate, and they leave their ego at the door. And they're always looking to learn from every single person in every single situation. And you really got to ask yourself the question, like, would you rather be right, or would you actually want to make some progress? 12, last one, be fooled by your outputs, not your inputs. Inputs are like your actions, the amount of hours you go marketing, the amount of estimates you do, hours you spend calling clients, stuff like that, like your inputs. And the output is the results of that. So like how many doors actually open, how many leads you actually get, how much revenue do you bring in, the results. And if you want consistency in your results, you got to focus on the inputs, not the output. So for example, like don't cut your marketing sessions early just because in the first hour you got like lucky and you got all the leads you were planning on getting for that 3-hour session. Like you just have to do the work and focus on the inputs, because eventually in the long term, by the end of the year, the law of averages will always kick in. Okay. So yeah, those are the 12 rules on how to be a low performing operator. So we're going to flip it. And here's the 12 steps on how to be a top performing StudentWorks operator. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Number 1, be coachable. 2, follow the proven systems with trust. 3, take massive actions. 4, do the work to earn the results. 5, fail once, try again. 6, make promises, keep promises. 7, seek discomfort. 8, wait for the worst conditions, wait for imperfect conditions and act anyways. 9, focus on being productive and moving the needle rather than just being busy. 10, do your best and make it above what it takes to be successful. 11, assume that you're always wrong. And 12, focus on inputs and not outputs. And here's my takeaway from this, guys. Like, when you avoid pitfalls, just as a byproduct, you're going to be successful. And when you don't make mistakes and you don't intentionally go backwards, it's just very easier, or it's much easier to just continue moving forward and just winning. Because having clarity on how to win is very important, but having clarity on how to lose is just as important. So yeah, that's the presentation. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. If anybody wants the slides, I'll definitely send it. But yeah, hope that was helpful.
Beautiful. Jazz hands for Joe.
Jazz hands.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, dude. That was amazing. So why don't we flip it over to some questions? So obviously, you know, Joe has enormous experience and wisdom and has really seen it all through the program. So who's got questions for Joe? Why don't we just throw up the virtual hand, and then yeah, we can start hammering them out. Victor.
So thank you, Joe, for that presentation. And just had a question. When you were operating your first year, what did you struggle the most with?
Ooh, that's a good one. These are all like authentic answers, guys. So I don't have I don't have an answer ready for you. You have to give me a couple seconds. So what I struggle with could be very different than what you struggle with. I want to make that very clear. Yeah, the biggest thing that I struggled with in my first year, where are you, Victor? I just want to look at your camera because I want to talk to you. Is comparing yourself to other people. And what I mean by that is, like, for other people, what I achieved in my first year was pretty good. But like, I knew, like, came like July, October, August, like I could have given a lot more. So compared to other people's standards, it was like I finished like number 6, number 7. It was like pretty good, but like I could have finished like top 2, top 3, and I knew that. So yeah, just not using other people's standards for your own standards. If yours is higher, if other people's is higher, listen to their standards. Hannah, great question though. Where the cameras keep moving.
Hey, so mine would be, what would be a significant mistake that you made and how were you able to come back from that, and how did you like learn from it?
Oh, great question. So I'm kind of like, I'm gonna think about the future. So we're going into our first year, but I'm speaking about my vet year. So a common mindset for, I'm just gonna let that line. Common mindset for a vet after your first year operating is to hire a production manager. And for most vets, including me, the reason I decided to hire a project manager or production manager is because I wanted to get fancy. I wanted more delegation, and it was just absolutely unnecessary. It eats up your profits. Yeah, it financially did not make sense for the business. And I just wanted to look like I'm running a more successful business. So what I did was, so he was a production manager. May and June, he was managing the crews. And then we were noticing every week with Luke that it just absolutely did not make sense to keep him on board. He wasn't making good money. I wasn't making good money. It wasn't in anyone's best interest for him to be in that position with his compensation plan. So what I did, coaching from Luke, was to go and have a tough conversation, and I actually demoted him to a painter, which really sucked in the moment. But it was actually in his best interest to no longer be in that position, given where the business was and given how much money he was and wasn't making. So I just Like that was the most productive conversation I had. It saved me like 20 grand by demoting him. So yeah, it was kind of ugly, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I don't think he was really the perfect guy anyway.
No, yeah.
As well, in addition to that.
Joey?
What would you say would be the one thing you wish you knew, like the one thing you wish you knew before going into it in your first year?
Before my first year? What did I wish I like advice to myself?
Yeah.
Like I thought in my first year that if I just work really hard and just like do my best, it'll work out. Which it did, but you gotta have a plan. Like you gotta be a numbers guy, and you gotta like reverse engineer your goal. Like you gotta have clarity on exactly what needs to get done every single day in terms of your leading indicators, your input, because like input just does equal output. Like I'll give you an analogy. Like for example, if somebody wants to go to the gym and they go to the gym 5 days a week, they eat healthy, they get good sleep, they have a good personal trainer, like the inputs, it would be really weird to not be in better shape. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like I understood that for fitness, but like for business, I just like it didn't click for me. But it's like absolutely true. Like you do the right things in business, you implement the right systems, you have a clear plan, you have a good business coach. It would be weird not to run a good business. And that just like didn't click for me. And like thankfully it worked out. But like I just like did my best and hoped that it worked out, which it did. But if I did it 10 times with no plan, I don't know if it would have worked out 10 out of 10 times.
Fair enough. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Clara?
Yeah, my question would just be going for us first years going to January training, what would be like the biggest, most important thing that we can do to prepare ourselves for that? Because I know right after January, we're kind of getting right into it, and just to prepare ourselves the best, what could we do?
I'll give you two things. I'll give you like a tactical thing and like a personal thing. So tactically, I would work on your mindset as much as you can before January training, because if you like as a business owner, you're influencing your employees, you're influencing your clients, and these are all external things. And if you truly want to influence external things, you first have to influence yourself internally. So if you're always losing to your mind every time in terms of like you made a commitment to get out of bed by 7 a.m. and you're like negotiating with your brain because your mindset is weak, like you're not going to be able to influence anybody externally if you can't influence yourself. So I would just like do the work and like sharpen the sword and really work on your mindset. And a good resource would be, I know Amer shared the mindset videos on School. Is that correct, Luke?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Have you guys heard of those videos?
Yeah, they all have access to School.
Okay, cool. Have anybody ever watched those videos?
Not yet.
Okay. I've watched those videos at least like 6-7 times. And it's like it's such like principles for success is the same everywhere. Like the principles you use to be successful in student works, I mean, like for other, like it'll be the same. It's like the mindset that you need, it's going to show up and help you in the future as well. So I would start sharpening that now and watch those videos and really work on like discipline, integrity, keeping your word, having good self-talk about yourself. Like I'd really work on you so that when January comes, you can pour into others, your employees, your clients, but you got to work on you first. And then on the personal side, at January training, I would make as many friends as you possibly can. I've made my best friends in this program. One of my best friends now, Jimmy, I met him in the program and we lived together for 3 years during Student Works. in London. So I went to Western, so I live in London. I just moved to Toronto last year. And Jimmy now works in contracting.com with me because I referred him into the company, and we both live downtown, and he's a 400-meter away, like right by the CN Tower. Like me and Jimmy, we hang out like multiple times a week. Like he's my absolute best friend. Brought my personal best friend from my childhood into the program, made like hundreds of friends, like 90% of my friends are Student Works alumni now. So I would just go make a lot of friends at January training. But tactically, like really work on your mindset. That is the leading indicator for your business success later, which is the lagging indicator, the output.
Love that.
Awesome, thank you.
One thing we've actually been doing that's been really sick, I don't know if I told you this, is we've had 3 max meetings so far with all of like this year's rookies, next year's rookies. And we have our last round of max meetings this week, and then they have orientation on Saturday. So we've been basically assigning kind of homework, which is basically been like the pre-JT sort of checklist spreadsheet that we used to just like kind of send to people, and they just have to figure it out on their own for like whatever 2 months. So now we've kind of broken it up into like little bite-sized week by week, which has been really sick, and then assigning homework. So I'm gonna add into this week's homework to watch the mindset videos on School. I think that's really sick.
They're like absolute game-changing material there. Oh, one other thing, is it Clara or Clara? I don't want to butcher your name.
It's Clara.
Clara, okay, cool. Start right after January training, start really hard. What I typically saw in my 5 years is that the way, not always, like it's not an absolute, but most of the time, what the leaderboard looks like after the first month of January training is typically how it stays. Now, sometimes there are like underdogs, and some people will start really strong and they'll no longer focus on the inputs and they'll fall off later. But typically, how the leaderboard looks like after the first 30 days is typically how it stays, because momentum is a huge part of success. So I would just start really hard and just maximize your calendar. It's gonna be hard. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to make sacrifices, but it'll be fucking worth it in like August. But it's gonna be really hard, like I'll guarantee you that. Justin?
Hey Joe, so looking back at that year where you did the $1 million business, or the person you were coaching did the $1 million business,
Yeah.
what would you say are the biggest things that separated that happening from, the average, I guess, $130,000 business? Like, what are the biggest things that allowed you to do that, or the operator? The most important.
Just can I swear?
Yes, you can.
Just the fuck ton of consistency, dude. Like you got to keep in mind, like on an 8-month time span, times 4, it's 32 weeks. If you want to do $1 million divided by 32 weeks, on average, 31K per week. If you have like 3-4 bad weeks, dude, or you like fall off and you don't hit your commitments, it's really hard to do that number in that short amount of time span. If you have like a bad week, or you just like fuck off for a little bit, like you have to be so consistent. Like Justin was just so consistent. He like truly never had a bad week. And I can confidently say that. If he had a lower sales week, it's because he sold a lot more weeks before to plan to take his foot off the gas for sales, to really focus on hiring. But when I'm thinking about like the overall aspect of the business, like he just like never really had a bad week. And again, it's like law of inverse thinking. If you just don't lose, or just don't have a bad week, it's pretty easy to have a good year. You know the saying, it's like if you want to win the decade, you got to win the year. If you want to win the year, you got to win the quarter. If you want to win the quarter, you got to win the month. If you want to win the month, you got to win the week. If you want to win the week, you got to win the day. If you want to win the day, you got to win the morning. It's just like, if you just do the basics right, it's like business is so predictable. If you just have a good week every week, you'll just have a good month. And if you have a good month every month, you have a good year. So Yeah, just like consistency. And like I'll guarantee you this, man, because Justin told me this. So your name was Justin, my operation name was Justin too. He would show up some weeks like, man, I really fucking don't feel like doing the work. And I'm like, but I'm gonna do it. I'm just, doesn't matter how I feel. And it's like if you can, and again, like the perfect conditions thing, like if you can only do the work when you feel like doing it, it's gonna be really hard to run a huge business, dude. Like there's a huge difference between being committed and being interested in your goals. Being committed is doing the work regardless of how you feel, whether it's convenient or inconvenient. Being interested is doing the work only when it's convenient and you feel like doing it. So it's just like, you gotta ask, are you committed or are you interested?
Mm-hmm. The other thing I'll add to that, like, or just really kind of, I guess, whatever, put inside of that share is like Justin would put in outrageous inputs. He was roommates with my brother and a bunch of other operators and stuff like that. And Justin would be the type of guy where it's like, you know, Friday night rolls around. It's like, you know, 6:30, we finish work, go out for dinner, come back. He's at the house working, or he's not home yet. You know, we go out, go to a bar, have some drinks, come back at like, you know, 1, 2 o'clock. He's at the kitchen table writing production planners, sending email. Like he's a sicko. And he's also, he, prior to doing Student Works, was working as a butcher, just packing meat, whatever. He worked at I think Tasman Market in London while he was in school, BMOS, Western, whatever. And he wrote all his goals out on a sheet of paper and taped it to his ceiling above his bed and would read it every night and every morning when he was working as a butcher, as a student, you know, at Western. No business, no nothing, no opportunity. And he had really gotten in this program through Joe and I. His older brother is one of my best friends. His oldest brother is my real estate agent. And then Joe and I get our haircut from the middle brother. So I had a conversation with him, and then Joe had another conversation with him. And then he was like, yeah, dude, I want to fucking do this. And he went from making, you know, $13 an hour to $400,000 in a summer profit from, you know, being a savage and really obviously crushing it and using the systems and stuff like that. So obviously that's like the number one most insane story, but pretty cool stuff nonetheless.
Yeah, Justin was actually just obsessed. Like he would rather die than not hit his goals. I mean, you're just like that obsessed and willing to do the work and do the inputs. It's one of the, it would be weird for him to not hit his goals. It's like doing the work so much and so well, Justin, that it would be unreasonable for you to not get your goals. Like if you showed anybody all the work that you did and you're like, I didn't hit my goals, they'd be like, yo, what? How is that even possible? Like doing the work that much. Like how did you not get it? That makes no sense. But that will never happen because input does equal output, and you would just, if you did the input, you would just get the output. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Gabby?
My question would be, what was the one thing you did best, and how did you achieve to be able to, for that thing to be your best? Let's say like your best was sales. Why was it sales, or etc.?
I think Chris Thompson talks a lot about unique ability, which is what you like doing and what you're good at. Like there are things that we don't like and that we're not good at, things that we like but we're not good at, things that we're good at that we don't like, and like right in the middle is like what you like and you're good at. I think for me, just personally, it's sales and leadership, which really means like enrollment, like getting people to want to do the thing that you need them to do. So I just had a lot of enrollment in my business. Like my employees would just do way more than what a typical painter would do. They would do unreasonable things, and they were just so committed to me in the business, because one, they were treated really well, but they just had a lot of enrollment. And like it comes from doing a lot of like like work on like learning about leadership and coaching and influence, but like speaking in terms of their best interest, right? Like that's kind of where enrolling comes from. But yeah, it's if you can learn sales and leadership, like you will never be poor. And I think you get that. The longer you stay in the program, the exponentially better you get at enrollment. Like you can't be a DM or a coach here without enrollment. So, and I had a killer coach who was really good at enrolling me, and Luke enrolled me to being here today. So, oh yeah. Yeah.
And we'll teach you a lot more about that term enrollment. It kind of say like it is logically makes sense, but it's definitely a different context that we kind of use it in through these courses and stuff that we do. But enrollment, I'll read you the real the definition of enrollment in the sense that we use it, and it'll sound really funny. And then I'll break it down into a simpler term. But enrollment is creating a new possibility for another person so that they're touched, moved, and inspired by that possibility. So really what enrollment means is being able to show someone why this particular thing that you're asking of them or showing them, or a solution that you're providing them, is going to be best for them, and them seeing that, you know, getting behind this possibility, solution, result, whatever, is going to be something that provides more for them than what they're currently getting, essentially. So there's a huge difference between selling and enrolling, because I can sell you on the benefits of something and explain to you all the reasons why this is great and better than that and whatever. But when you have somebody like on your ship, like touched, moved, and inspired by the opportunity you're presenting to them, it's a whole different thing. So the skill of enrollment comes with being a great whatever business owner, operator, coach, etc. And we'll get way more into that. But yes, thank you, Joe.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes I heard is, if you help enough people get everything that they want in their life, eventually you'll get everything you want. So there's always making sure that they, like, the other person like wins more than you now. Cool. Jonah?
Yeah. One of the things that I would say I'm definitely most frightened of in this program is the recruiting and hiring and like human resources type of thing. I was wondering a couple of things. What did that did you say his name was Justin, who ran that $1 million business? What did the hiring process look like for that? Was there many marketers that transferred over to painters that summer? Like, is that something that is like more feasible, or like, and how do you mitigate the like uncertainty with dealing with other people, like, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, great question. In terms of his process, it was exactly the same process that everyone has access to. It's the same systems. Here, where did your camera go?
Oh, sorry, I
there you
lowered
go.
my hand.
Oh, there you go. That's okay. Same. He just followed the system. The true difference was the amount of volume that he had. Like, hiring really is a numbers game, and you just need a lot of volume. So that's what he did in the preseason. Just like, he would interview like a ridiculous ratio. Like, he would interview like 30 people and like maybe like try out one person. Like, it's like,
Wow.
for this year, we have two every year on average, 200 operators. Luke, how many people were interested this year?
We have like 350 operators this year. We got over 20,000 names.
20,000. Okay. 350?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a 0.0175 ratio, like percent. It's
Wow.
like, and like every single person who's a top performer, like if you want high quality people, you just need a ridiculous amount of volume. And then once Justin had his full team and had backups, he continued the hiring machine and kept getting applicants and kept doing interviews, and he was always recruiting. Like
Okay.
you never want to be at the mercy of your employees. You want to have people ready always in the back burner. Like he was hiring till September. Like he always had good people. If you thought like, yeah, if somebody's slacking, somebody's better, can easily be replaced. But he just had like, if you just want good people, you need to talk to just a lot of people. If you interview 3 people and hire 3, the chances of them being like AAA employees is very low. So same system, follow the systems, just more volume, just more. But no, you're right.
Wicked, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude. I think it's very fair that hiring is a concern because it actually is the hardest part in any service-based business. Because like these people that you hire, Jonah, are the arms and legs of your business. Like they represent you, they represent your reputation, your brand. So it's super important. That is, yeah, that's a leading indicator of a service-based business, good employees. So fair enough.
Yeah, for sure. And I always hear people talking about how you got to put, like in the podcast and stuff, where you got to put more trust than you're comfortable into your employees. So
yeah,
it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude. If you're really that concerned, which is totally normal, start hiring now. Like talk to your friends, get referrals. You have time. Like if you started now, dude, I think it would be weird if you didn't have good employees come May. But if you start in
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's possible that you might not have good employees.
Yeah.
Just also just to kind of add a little asterisk there, we're not going to hire anyone yet until after January training, but have a lot of conversations, like source a ton of applicants, and then we're going to train you how to seal the deal and get them as like have them signed as workers for you.
Yeah, I remember. So before my first year Student Works, I was working at McDonald's, and I remember around this time, first year before starting, I talked to every single person at McDonald's, and like 80% of them were ready to quit their job and start working with me come like April. So I didn't hire them, but I was like in conversation with these people and like talking about the job, what's possible for them. And they were like, yeah, I generate a lot of interest proactively.
Yeah, I had pretty much had my whole team before January training as well.
Yeah, like if you have a job right now, like start talking to those people.
Yeah, I work at like a Zehrs, a local grocery store. I've had some conversations, but I'll definitely spread the word around because I have a lot of like younger guys there who are looking for new work. It's not a very glamorous job for sure.
100%. Poaching is a real skill. So I mean, it's a real thing. So
yeah, we had an operator actually. This is pretty hilarious, but Andrew Cox, he's one of our funniest operators we've ever had. He's really interesting guy. But he was operating in Muskoka, which is, you know, more difficult, more challenging place. You know, anywhere rural is just gonna have less of a pool, applicant pool. So he would actually go into McDonald's, like he went to McDonald's a lot, and he'd go through the drive-through or go inside and try and recruit the workers from McDonald's. And he actually got kicked out of the McDonald's and told he can't come back because he's just trying to steal their workers. And I think he was pretty successful. Like I think he had successfully stole a couple workers, and then they needed them just as bad as he did, because again, it's just out there. So
sad. Sweet. Does that feel good, Jonah? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Joe. And
yeah, no worries, dude. Miranda.
So yeah, kind of going along with Jonah's question as well. I guess hiring painters is one thing, but hiring marketers, like I honestly, after talking to vets as well and like my coach as well, or you know, I think he's my coach, I'm not sure 100% yet. but Tyrus basically said kind of start looking for marketers now. And everyone that I've spoken to has all been like, if you think that I'm going door knocking in negative 30-degree weather, like count me out. So I'm just not sure. Like where you find the people. And I think a lot of people said, you know, it's your friends that come out with you. None of my friends would ever do that. So I'm just not sure like if you're hiring these people on Indeed or how you found the marketers.
Yeah, great question. I guess I'll answer your question with a question. I guess what are some skills that you would learn from canvassing?
Well, I guess, you know, if you're interested in sales, it's really good. It's also good to kind of get over that discomfort feeling of knocking on someone's door and pitching yourself to someone. You know, that could be very frightening for people. So I guess even for myself, I know my first time I'm obviously going to be really nervous, but afterwards you're going to start getting used to it. And it's also just a good skill to have for the future to kind of be able to pitch yourself to people in interviews and whatever you're looking for in the future. But I feel like not that many people have, you know, jumped at the opportunity when I've mentioned it. So that's my struggle at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes, marketer, painter, hiring is the hardest part for sure. Marketing is definitely a tough gig. Like I'll definitely acknowledge that. And I would be curious to know how you're like sharing the opportunity with these people and what you're talking about. Because when I think of like canvassing, like the skill sets that you would get is like insane communication skills, learning how to think on your feet, how to handle no, how to actually deal with rejection, because like most people are so scared of rejection. Yeah, like these are all like in terms of sales and communication, I learned way more about sales and communication from marketing than doing estimates. Like estimates is just like the form you go, you take like that's all cool, but like that first impression, like the ability to turn an absolute stranger into a paying, raving customer is a skill that will allow you to forever make money. If you're not interested in that, then like I don't know. But if you want to learn how to turn an absolute stranger into like a $3,000 customer, like let's go. So I'd be curious to know how you're presenting that. I guess Luke, what anything missing?
Yeah, a few things. Number one, great job for going out and asking your friends. And second, it's completely normal. Well, there's two things. Number one, we're gonna teach you how to be a lot better at having these conversations at January training. We haven't started yet, so that makes sense. Secondly, just expect people to say no and be comfortable with no's and look for no's. No's are a good thing. You should get lots of no's. You're gonna get told no thousands of times this year. Right. You're going to have people tell you no at the door, at their kitchen table. You're going to have people say no to work for you. You're going to hire someone to work for you, and then they're going to say they aren't going to anymore, and they're going to quit on you. You'll have clients say that they're probably going to say yes, and then they'll say no. So it's a word that you definitely want to get used to, and rejection is a good thing. The more rejection you get, the more acceptance you will get in business. So don't stress about that. The other thing is, if I like this is just I don't know, maybe a bit of a side tangent. If I were to quit my job and not coach any of you guys or your coaches, and I were to get paid your payment structure to go door to door and get leads, and I were to work for all of you, I would probably make more money than I do right now. I think that I could go door to door for every single one of you and make enormous amounts of money, because with that, like it's a job that can pay you a lot, and having the skill of being able to convert someone like that all day long, and you're quick, you're able to handle objections, rejection, you're able to pitch and influence people. And it's really interesting with canvassing, especially because they're really like micro transactions. They're really, really fast. And you're basically having someone go from, you know, watching Succession on their couch or making dinner or whatever, to being someone that's like pre-committing to get their house painted for the summer, you know, from a guy with a mustache that you've never met before. And being able to do that repeatedly, you know, multiple nights a week for a year is what's able to translate into $100,000 businesses, $500,000 businesses, $1 million businesses. So to be one of your friends that's able to make a contribution of, you know, not only learning the skill set required to be able to have one aspect of a, you know, $100,000 business work, something that's really, you know, powerful that for them to be able to take on, but then having that skill to be able to influence people really, really quickly and learn things like, you know, body language and tonality and the ability to pitch, handle objections, rejection. These things are just invaluable. Like the amount you can learn from this job is significantly greater than any other aspect in our whole entire business. And the reason why people don't want to do it typically are because of fears and insecurities that if they were to break through those, they would be, you know, in a better position. So part of what the kind of scary part is like, yeah, sure. If you want, like, if you look at Joe's inverse chart, like if we were to say, if you didn't want to face your fears, or you didn't want to become more confident, or you didn't want to learn how to present yourself better to people, then you shouldn't market. You shouldn't do this, right? But if you do want to be more confident and you do want to be able to present yourself better and, you know, face your fears and all this stuff, then this is something you should do. This is something that they should do. And then when you're able to have those conversations with people and identify for them what it is that would be preventing them from saying yes, and then how that could actually be something really powerful for them, is a really great way to get people out. And then in addition to that, it's a flexible job. They can work whatever hours around their school schedule. It's not a huge commitment either, like typically as low as 3 hours a week, as high as like maybe 9 to 12 hours a week. And it's, you know, a commission structure with still like a salary attached to it, or like hourly attached to it. So can be phenomenal money for someone to be good. But those are just
and like the way I think about skill set, Miranda, is I think of it as insurance. Like if I get fired or if I start my own business and absolutely fail, like painting, window cleaning, that, like I'm thinking about the niche solar. There are literally 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids who go knock door for solar and legitimately make 7 figures. If all goes to shit, I will just go knock on doors and sell whatever because I know I can do it really well and just make a ridiculous amount of money. And I just look at that as like insurance for me. And for that reason, I'll go do the uncomfortable thing and like get a door shut in my face, be a little cold. It's like, if you can only do the work when it's warm and nice outside, like you're in the wrong country, first of all. It just builds character. Like if you can go do this successfully, like you're like your friends or whatever, like they'll just come out being way better people, way more powerful people.
Do you think it was just your friends, or did you also hire people outside of your
closer? Oh yeah, I hired tons of friends and tons of people like Kijiji, Indeed, yeah, both for sure. Yeah, and like when you for painting and canvassing, just make sure it's like fun and make sure that they like at the end of the session that they see for themselves and that you help them identify what they learned and how they're improving every session. Okay. Yeah, if people are having fun and they're seeing improvement, they'll just continue doing it. But if it's not fun and not seeing improvement, like I wouldn't do anything when I'm not having fun and not seeing improvement. Right. So.
Right.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll go a few more minutes. We'll answer Emmett's question. I have one more question for you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up shortly.
All
if
right.
that's
This
cool with
one,
you, if you're good with that, Joe. Yep.
Yeah, this is maybe a little bit of a strange question, but I'm sure you do calls a lot and get on the phone with like rookies and other people in the business. But what is a question that you think maybe people should ask that they don't, like what's missed or what's overlooked in some of these calls that you have? And or another kind of way of phrasing the question is like, after you're done the call, is there anything that comes to your mind afterwards that you wish you added or wish you told that person about?
Yeah, dude, great question. You're super smart. It's less about, oh, I wish they asked me these questions, but a lot of pitfalls. Again, like I'm just looking out for pitfalls. I'm looking for downsides. I'm thinking about like ways to not lose. Sometimes what I find is for rookies is that, and just like new entrepreneurs in general, will have these like conversations, read motivational books and videos, and they'll like feel really good, and they take no action. It's just like, if you don't take action, nothing matters. And when you have a lot of these conversations, I'm not saying that they're bad, they're super helpful. But when you have all these, like, when you watch all these videos, have all these conversations, and you feel really pumped and motivated, it's called like mental masturbation. Like you mentally think you're doing shit, but you're not. So like you can't fool yourself, and like you gotta like actually take action, like actually watch those mindset videos. Like when you have a conversation with the vet about marketing, like actually go marketing after. Like you have to do the work. And there is just no way around the work. So the like overview way to answer your question, Emmett, is just not getting fancy.
Perfect.
Just like keep it simple, just do the work. It's not that you don't know what to do, like you know what to do. Like just go do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, great question though.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't get fancy with business. The work sometimes just needs doing. Yeah. Sweet. Luke?
Beautiful. I wanted to ask you just one specific kind of question. It's been asked similarly, but I'm interested to kind of hear what you would say, and then I might throw in a couple things too. But if it were to be November 26th, 2017, you're a rookie, you just signed, you have like 2 months, 7 weeks before January training. You can't go out and like, knock doors yet or sign people yet. What are some of the main things you would do to prepare for the season?
Yeah, I think it's what I told Clara. I would just do a ridiculous, like knowing what I know now, I would just do a ridiculous amount of work on myself. Like the people that you guys are now is just not enough for you to hit your goals, and that's perfectly okay. But it's like for you guys to hit your goals, whether it's 100K, 50K, 150, 200, you guys just need to become an absolutely different type of person. Like the reason I'm so excited to be a millionaire is not for the money. It's a type of person I need to be to generate that amount of wealth. But I would just do a ridiculous amount of work on myself. I would study top businesses. I would read books on leadership, human behavior, money, sales, influence. I would watch those mindset videos like religiously. I would just sharpen the axe. Like if I gave you 4 hours to cut down a tree, you should spend, if I give you 2 hours, I would spend an hour and a half sharpening the axe and 30 minutes chopping. But some people just like chop for 2 hours and they make no progress. Like you got to sharpen your axe, and you working on yourself is the leading indicators to the success you're going to see. All the success, the amount of money you're going to make, the freedom, like the connections you're going to have, those are all lagging indicators. And the leading indicator is you. So you got to work on you, focus on the inputs, focus on the leading indicators. And I would just like get to work on yourself. Be the type of ask her, what would this type of person do? Like a person like Alyssa, who's already running a 6-figure, what would Alyssa, who's running a 6-figure business, be doing right now? And when you ask yourself that question and like coach yourself, you typically come to a pretty good answer. And then without delay, just execute.
Nice. Love it. Okay. Yeah, just so you guys know, some good stuff we'll be giving you. We have, and you don't need to do this all. I hope you don't feel overwhelmed. If you do, just let us know and we'll help you. But there's lots to prepare for, which is great. You guys are in the best position anyone has ever been coming into this program by far, which is really sick. But I've got 5 books for you. You don't have to read them. I would recommend, I'll put them in order of how I would recommend them. That will give you at your meetings tomorrow and Tuesday. We have one more podcast. We can definitely get you a lot of podcasts, bunch of videos to watch. So we have so many resources. I think you guys are just going to be too good coming out of January training. Any last questions, comments? I do have actually something else I want to do before we close off.
Just super quickly, Luke, I just really want to thank Joe, for his genuine shares, not only sharing his successes, but also, being super open and honest about, when he didn't go right. And this is like my third, 4th year coming back into the program, and I get value every single time. I really wish I had this chat when I was a rookie. I feel like I would have done, so much sharpening of my axe, and I just love that analogy. So just want to give you a big shout out and say big thanks for everything you're doing for the program as well.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. I'll say this, guys. I don't take your time lightly. I know it's Sunday night. You guys could have been doing something else, but you guys are here sharpening the axe and giving me an hour of your time. So I just want to say thank you for showing up, and thank you for betting on yourselves running your business.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And thank you, Joe, so much. I'm going to thank you here in a second. I want to share something else really quick. So, but yeah, that's it. So, thank you so much, Joe. I know, you're obviously a guy that's extracted so much from this program, and now you're here to share with us and learn so much outside of the program. But, someone that just cares so much about people, human beings, the program, operators inside. Really love and appreciate you, and thank you just for being here. So you're the man.
Appreciate that. Okay, well, good luck, guys. Have a lot of fun running your business, and yeah, I drop my Instagram if you guys want to connect, but I'm always open. If you guys want to set up another call mid-season, something, I'm more than open to doing that. But yeah, thank you for investing in yourselves. Thank you for betting on yourselves, and yeah, good luck with the business. Rooting for you guys.
Beautiful.
Thank
All righty. Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Have a great week.
Thanks, Joe. Have a good day.
Very much for your time.